What up, everybody? How's it going? We're back. We're talking Dorico, and we're going to continue where we left off last time. Hopefully, not as boring. We're going to look at my first string quartet, and we're going to keep working on cleaning it up in Dorico. And I found some fixes for that, which is good. And yeah, we'll just see where it goes. Pop your questions in the chat if you got them. And I don't know. We'll just talk about Dorico, all things like that. All right, let's see. Where are we at? This is where we're at. So there's some interesting things that I found. All right. The first thing, I had to look this up because this was really annoying to me. What the hell is going on here? So if we take a look at my layout options, staves and systems, casting off. And I found this because I went through the forum, the Steinberg help space, whatever. And somebody had recommended turning off fixed number of systems. Now, I don't understand why we have 2 here on the first page, but if I turn it off and apply, it resolves that. That doesn't make sense to me. Somebody smarter than me can go ahead and explain why that works. But that was the solve. So that's what it was. And so now it works, apparently. So yeah, that's where we is. Yeah, so there's some cleanup stuff we got to do still. And yeah, we'll just find those parts and keep going. This piece I wrote in 2011. I feel like my string writing is better since then. But honestly, this is a piece that I really love. It's a piece that I think was a big step forward for me as a composer, and therefore I really love it. I honestly didn't work on this at all since the last time I was on here. I just looked some things up and looked up some other problems that I'd seen recently with other projects. So let's see. All right, I'm going to zoom in here. Close that. This stuff, I love these. Yep, those types of things. Totally copied from Shostakovich String Quartet 15, I think. So we kind of fixed these last time. Turned this into a playing technique, but it doesn't look like this one is. This is text. So we're going to get rid of that. I'm going to put this as that, because that's what we want. It's one of these like yunka, nice effect. All right, so we clean that one up. All the arco back and forth stuff is confusing, and actually I don't know why that's duplicate up here. I'm guessing we're missing some markings. Yeah, there's some Bartok pizzas. And in general, some pizzas missing. All right, we're going to pull up the original score here, which was done in Finale. I did that. I don't know what Finale that would have been. 2009? Finale 2009? What do you think the best Finale was? I feel like it was 2014.5. I think that's what it was. The drumline stuff came together, and that worked really well. And then the the Garriton orchestra, the basic orchestra that came with it was better. There's just a lot of things that had updated with that. Remember when parts and score wouldn't talk to each other, but then they fixed that? Was that like 2012 or 20... Yeah, I feel like it was around then. Amazing. That was amazing. That saved a lot of time. All right, so this is page 10, which is not the same. That's what I have. All right, so this is our score here. Yeah, so we're missing a bunch of markings. We're missing some Bartok Pitzes, I think. This is after H. Right here. So these should be Bartok Pitzes, and that's why there's all this confusion. So we'll go ahead and select these two, and we'll add that in. Don't they have? Ah, here we go. Snap pits. All right, so apparently that doesn't transfer from Finale, which is a little strange because I feel like some of the earlier sections had that. I'm gonna have to go back through, but maybe when we're in the parts, we'll take a look at that. But that's definitely something to note. At least this playing technique is correct. The next spot I got is, yeah, so measure 115. Right here. Bum 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 cut. And honestly, they're just, I told this to the players when they recorded it. It didn't have to have like as much of a snap, as much as it just kind of need to have that pitsy feel. But I also feel like that's something that I can explain in the program notes and don't necessarily need to include in the music because it's already too much information in here. It's like so hectic. 126, 127, 128, 120, measure 129, which is right here. So yeah, apparently this didn't carry over from Finale. There he is. These are supposed to be... Now I'm just hoping I find them all. There might be a simpler way to look for this, but I don't know. I feel like for the purpose of just being like really sure that I'm catching everything in the score going manually, I would rather do that than any sort of like import. I feel like some of those import things take way longer than just manually handling something, so that's why I'll just prefer to do that. Right before J. Yep. I haven't looked at this piece in so long, which was kind of why I picked it, because this was going to be a whole thing where I'd be kind of rediscovering some issues and errors and things to clean up. So yeah, I think that was the plan here. And we're finding it. We're finding shit. This piece is hard. It ain't easy. All right, right before J, we got that. So 2-4 measure. Chung. These ones. Batuta. All right, let me fix that. I think that's it. I think that's it. Somebody asked where you can find this. It is on Spotify and YouTube. You can find it in the Apple Store too. I actually have a few. I printed real CDs wherever they are in my house after I've moved. Most of them are gone now though. Also, I don't have a CD player. So I recently had to do, I burned a CD for somebody. And this was really weird. I I forgot how to do it. I had it in my second computer, so I had to pull the disk drive out, put it in my main computer now, and then figure out how to do that. And then I had to try and test it on like a PlayStation 2 because I didn't want to double check it on the computer. I wanted to try it on another device. I don't have a CD player anywhere. I don't know. All right, so now basically what I'm gonna do is, I don't think I've gotten to the, yeah, we have some crunchies here. So fix the rest of this. I have a feeling there are some issues, right? Like right here, this is stupid. We have flats and then we have sharps. That's weird. So I'm gonna have to take a look at this and then we'll fix that because that is confusing. Everybody should be in some manner of the same sense of tonality. So want to fix that. And of course, string players lean towards sharps over flats. So I guess we could just do that right now. So all of these right here, let's go, what's this, the A flat? All right, so we're gonna take that, holding control. All right, I didn't turn this on. Oh, we gotta change it. There we go. Now you can see things. Huzzah. All right, so we'll start with this. So just this A flat here. Holding Alt and then the minus key, so that'll go down kind of enharmonically. The A flat here. Let's just listen to this real quick. As you can tell, that's just going up minor second. But we'll do that. The whole, or no, I was gonna say that's an E sharp, but that's not the case. Yeah, that should work. So yeah, the other thing we could do, let's try this out. So we're gonna select, holding shift, we're select through here, right click, and we are going to filter, and we're gonna go all the flat notes, boom, and then Alt minus, and now we've fixed that. The thing about this is we've got this C to D sharp versus the C to E flat, which is way easier to see. But I think I'm going to keep it this way because we would have the E natural down here, and it's probably easier once they're talking about what chords these are to keep it there. In sections like this, since they're going up, you know, we're avoiding the diminished second because that's easier. Spot like this, yeah, it's kind of easier to think A to B flat and not A sharp. But again, for the purpose of this, what we're doing here, we're going to keep that. And yeah, I could just like select all flat notes or something around here and then tell it to move all those down. But for the sake of showing y'all, we're going to do it manually. Okay. So here we are, and now we need to start moving stuff around. Move to engrave mode, and I don't love that. I think that's annoying to see. But also, all right, so let's try this. It's a little bit too big. I feel like this is also subjective. Objective? Subjective. Objective. Between just how I feel about how it should look. It's all in your head. Like here's one, actually, just for the sake of taking a look at this. C to B flat. I'm going to keep that. That makes more sense. We also have the E flat underneath. So going to A sharp here would be just awkward. I don't know. I think keeping that up there. Put this back here. No, I changed my mind. I'm also probably a terrible person with this because I just go back and forth. And I get really, really picky about how it all looks. Granted, for the most part, players never look at this score because they're always only looking at their own part. All right, so we're going to put this up here because that makes a nice clean page turn. Move that here for the sextuplets. This is pretty crunched too, but I'm gonna leave it. Probably a lot of this stuff could be even more pushed together. For example, could probably bring that up here. Bring this in. And then I'm going to start this on the next line because I think that's a little cleaner. Frame break up here, we'll delete that. Bring that over. This is ugly. Okay. Move that over. This is a reference to the very beginning. After we get through this whole kind of bombastic section, to pick things back up again, we open back up with what I had termed the sunrise theme. And that picks up from there. So yeah, I'm just like finding things that I think look crunched together. That's what I mean when I say crunchy. And I'm just pushing it out, filling it out. Also, I don't have any page restraints on this. Like, I can do whatever I want. I'm the publisher, so it's literally just whatever I think looks good. And hopefully what fits with, like, proper spacing. All right, this new section, we're going to break that. This is the royal theme over here that happens at Y. Oh, yeah, you know, here's an interesting F to A flat or F to G sharp. What do you think? All right. So that's a pretty way to end that. Here's what we need to fix. Actually, that's cool, right? So we're pretty much to the end there. The vertical spacing is bad. Bad. This is the thing that I don't truly understand the very difference between these two things. Like, I get it, I can read, but there's a lot of things that don't make sense to me in Dorico. For example, why casting off doesn't actually keep 3 systems in one page. So something like this, I can read these words over and over, but I still am like a little confused at what the fuck that even matters. Okay, so let's take a look at another thing here. Text. So these text box here, this is an artifact that came from the transfer from Finale to Dorico. So there's an issue here. For some reason, it's thinking there's text. And there very well could be. Finale is historically, especially like 25, had so many issues with artifacts. For the longest time, the print page was busted in Finale 25. They kind of fixed it a little bit in 27, but there were still some issues that I would fall into. So I often printed to a like Adobe PDF, and then I would handle it from there, as opposed to use the like export option or whatever it was in Finale, because things would move around. So my theory, and if you're a coder, you know these things better than I, let me know. But my theory is that this is all just weird ass Finale artifacts. So we're just going to go ahead and select here, and then holding shift, we're going to select down to here. Other thing we could have done was we could have selected here. We could have selected down to there, and then under select to end of flow. And now it got us here. Either way works. 2 different paths to get to the same place. All right, but what we want is we're going to take these text, instead of having to manually click them, we're going to filter them. So edit, and then the full filter list, which there's so much that you can filter. It's all here. So it's, you know, for a while I was thinking maybe it'd be signposts, but it's not. They're specific. So this is text. And now you can see we've selected these different text frames. So then I'm just going to delete those because I don't need those here. And our tempo stuff has moved down. This thing, there's too much going on here. If we hide the signposts, I got this as a comment on YouTube like yesterday. But if you know, these purple, pink, whatever, those things are in your way, view signposts, hide signposts. So now we're gonna select this Morendo. I don't really know, I don't remember why it goes there. Let's see if it does that in the original. This is rehearsal X. I feel like it doesn't do that. I feel like I didn't. VIF. Again, this is 2011. I don't know why I'm using non-English, but alas. All right, so this meant just to come in after the RIT. So we're gonna adjust that. So the RIT's here. This has, this honestly could just be text. It doesn't need to be a tempo text. So we're gonna delete this right here, Shift X. I'm gonna put this in our, no, not playing style. I think I'll just for right now, because I don't really know how I want to treat this. We'll put it in italics. Although I do want this above that. This is one thing that can be tricky of the order of things. Tempo going at the top and then text going below. We'll adjust. We'll deal with that in a minute. Okay, but we fixed that. Do-ga-da-do, do-ga-da-do. What's going on here? Why do we... Look at this. I just noticed this. We have an A, and then it goes to A flat. I'm pretty sure that's wrong. This is measure 350. I'm pretty confident that's not supposed to be there. Yeah, so it... Oh, it did. This music. All right, I guess I'll leave it and trust myself. Although, I don't know why I did that. I don't know if that's correct. That is definitely wrong. That's just a stupidity. No, that's just my own stupidity. See, this is why we're going through it. Because I apparently don't know what I'm doing. To me, it makes more sense to have the F minor right here. So we're keeping that flat. Just because I say so. Well, where? Wow, there's a wrong note that was also in the original, I think. That's dumb on my part. I had a professor who was like pretty hard ass about always putting in a ton of instructions, like it's a Rockberg piece, like too many instructions. And so I even have these, if you could see the pianissimo in parentheses, just as like a reminder. I don't do that shit anymore. I have found that if you put too much information, people just get scattered, and it's just too much shit for people to think about. And then they mess it up. So honestly, I should fix these. Where are we at? X? Yeah, like this. It confuses people. It's unnecessary. And I think the other thing that's changed about me as a composer is I trust and play with musicians more. Like, no performance is ever the same, right? Like, there's always a little bit of a difference. And that's fine. I'm chill with that. It's never going to be perfect because I'm not writing for robots. So it is what it is, and that's cool. And so I like when musicians put in their own interpretation of things. This is stupid. And Dorico's going to get mad about this. So we're going to select here. On my Touch OSC over here, I'm going to filter dynamics. Fine, we can just delete all that. Right here, Shift D for dynamics, and we're going to go mezzo piano to piano. And we're actually going to push this back because I probably put it too far. Here, we don't need that piano. That's just overcompensating. They're fine. They're good musicians. They'll be fine. They don't need all this shit. So yeah. This is an effect, though. And this should be a crescendo. And again, it's going to give us all that nonsense. So what we need to do, actually, let's, and then see, it duplicates that. All right, so we're going to group these. Actually, let's, there we go. And now we're going to group dynamics. You can see they've shifted, and now they're all together. Beautiful. All right, so here, and now we're just getting into composing, because this piece has been performed enough times and recorded that I know that I don't love this. And I have this staccato up here because it was supposed to be bum bum ba, but I have it as a dotted quarter note. I think it will feel better for everyone if it's an eighth note. And then at the same time, we can beam these guys. Let's right click, look at our beaming, beam together. And that's just easier to read, right? Tell me if I'm wrong, string players, but I think it's just easier to read. As a percussionist, I'm a trained percussionist. I'm used to having like constantly deal with too much information. So apparently I used to do that to other players, and now I'm trying to be a better person. Oh, there's so many enharmonic things here, but I don't want to deal with that. Should we take a look at a part here? Overall, this is pretty good. If you remember, or if you saw the last one, the import had a bunch of crazy things. Let's turn signposts on real quick. If you remember, it had broken all sorts of stuff, and there were no breaks, so everything was a mess. Things are better now. Honestly, this could be a little bit bigger, but because it's a score for a string quartet, there's going to be binding right here, which is going to cause issues here. I'm going to have to move this over because I don't know if we can see. There's no ruler in here, right? That would be really helpful. Is there a ruler? I'd love a ruler. If anybody from Steinberg's checking this out, get us a ruler. It'd be really nice to see. Is it in print? Is there a ruler in print? There's probably not. But anyways, I digress. This will be hole punched. I just know that because the binding machine that I use, it will go into that. So we're going to need to move that over. Layout options, page setup, and then our right page. And this is for the left-hand page. So the left-hand page, we need on the right to be up to probably, let's say 15 for right now. And then the left 15. Yeah, so if you saw that move, I think that's enough. I would have to check all of my instructions. Okay, but what I was talking about with signposts, the text here, we need to get rid of these. So there's all these text things. Now I don't want to select all, like literally Control A, because there is some text that's been entered that I don't necessarily want to get rid of. I'm just going to go through and see of these, which ones I can get rid of. And again, I think that's just its own confusion. It attached text or artifacts. I don't know. If you know, let me know. Oh, see right there. It deleted heavily. So I had to click that manually. If you know a better way to do that, let me know. Right there, it deleted another one. If we look up here, what does that even say? If we hide signposts. Moto. Do I have that in measure 1 something? All right, so here we go. Here's an issue that happened between the transfer. M, rehearsal. Also, like I said, I have the septagons. It looks like we're missing a writ. Oh no, the writ's up here. Okay, we got the writ. The spiccato transfer, the pizzas did, and then there's just, I think, oh yeah, andante con moto. So that messed up. So we'll have to check all these, but let's go ahead and delete this because that's not supposed to be there. Andante. And that should clean that up. This is real ugly though. Whoa. So this is attached all the way over here. If you dealt with Finale, this was a common issue where if you were to input, you know, like you wouldn't necessarily always have these types of things showing on every staff for every part once you export to parts. So there are always these stupid workarounds that I would do, which were stupid. And that, I'm guessing, is why these things are moving over. So if you're smarter than me, and this goes back to like the process of your Finale export, if you're smarter than me and you prepare your Finale part in advance, make sure there's no messy artifacts. Obviously, I just took a piece that was last touched in, I don't know, 2018, I think it said. So it hasn't been 16 years. It's been 7 years. So you take that and you clean it up. This, you probably won't have as much of an issue as we're having right now. But something to note, that's probably why this is doing that. I'm just going to delete this. Everything's back kind of happy. And then right here, I think, yeah, we'll do it in these last three. Shift-T to get our time. Writ. And now we're going to do the abbreviated version. And I know I'm basically rebuilding what we just had. But again, I'm just trying to show something. But our line style dotted. All right, so now we are at the proper spot. We could drag this out for wherever we want it. That should be fine. But I definitely don't want it over the line. That's the big thing that's going on here. You know, that works, but we're bumping into that. What I'm going to do is just put that here, and then we'll manually move this. In grave mode, we'll just pop this down here. It'll be fine. Yes, why do I have these? So I think it was after the first reading that happened in like 2011. I wanted to better balance and inform of the balance, the performers. So I let them know if they're a little hotter or a little colder, dynamic wise. We're missing a crescendo right here. Yep. And then we're going to have to, deal with this. And then let's group all this. And I'm, again, just using my Touch OSC here. And I put that to group. This guy. Okay, so this is, we can't really, I'm holding, as you can see on the screen, Shift Alt, and then I'm moving the arrow key to move it over. The amount of space we're moving over here on the left hand side, if you can see that. Oh, you can't because my face is there. Can I get rid of that? No, I can't. You're stuck with it. What I'm doing is the resolution grid, the rhythmic resolution grid. It's at 16th notes, so that's why things are moving around. But you see, if you try to move things, it's getting messy. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to select this dynamics to here, and I'm going to filter dynamics. And now I'm going to ungroup. Everything's kind of all over the map right now. But I want to put everything in the right spot. I think this is over the right spot. And like this is a little too far. And now we'll go ahead and put them back together. Filter dynamics, group. That was manual. That was over the top. But that's what we're doing. Swell. We should probably take a look at a part. It's 11:35. But we have more crescendi missing. More of these. actually. Dun, dun, dun. Shift D, and then we're gonna go peak crescendo, and everybody's happy. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. Dun, 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 dun. This, it is annoying at where this is located. Let's open up Engrave Tools. Let's see if we can handle this for a second. Playing techniques, if you will. All right. So what we're dealing with right now is location. So where these things are getting placed, because I think they're a little in the way. I don't want it so far to the right. So this horizontal position offset, let's say it goes negative a quarter. Let's see what happens. It's better. Things like this Arco, I don't know if you could tell, but this is over a rest. So we can adjust that as we need. The Batuta is more of the issue that we're dealing with. All right, so now we're... And this is probably causing me all sorts of errors and issues elsewhere, but we'll deal with that in a second. Lord. Padding, we don't need that. All right, so now let's talk about minimum distance. I don't love that it's so far over. But humbug. It's kind of like only two choices. The horizontal offset doesn't seem to be... If we can move this, we have 16th notes set on the resolution grid. And if I do that, that was Alt, that moves it too far. I have a feeling that we're just gonna have to fudge this. Yeah, this is kind of annoying. So how we're gonna solve this for right now until I get smarter and learn a different trick. We're gonna go back down to the negative 1/4, and that's close. This I think is too close, and we'll run into printing issues. So we're gonna keep that there. So what we could do is engrave, and then we could just slide it over a little bit. I know I'm like offending the Dorico gods right now. Don't move things. Everything global. I'm sorry. This also needs to move over. That's way too close for comfort. Is there a way to make it so it's not snapping onto a note here? Because that's annoying. Did I miss that in engraving options? That it like snaps? It's like locked onto something? Or do you think that's a layout option issue? These are the types of things that I always get confused between what would be where. Yeah, I feel like it's not under this. Discard whatever changes I may have accidentally made. Huh. Playing techniques. Why are you the way you are? If we say 0. Sometimes it's hard to see what exactly, how it's moving. There they are. My bowings. All right, we'll keep that. So that's annoying. I don't know why I can't just move this. If you're smarter than me and you know, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to move this shit manually, which is fucking annoying, honestly. But that's what we're going to do right now. Alas, that's where we is. Ooh, we got some bad. So here's something in this situation. All right, we haven't looked at this. All right, left-right adjustment. Okay, so we're in engrave mode, and we're going to deal with note spacing. So I'm going to select up here. Select this guy right here. If I Alt, and I'm going to move him over. That moves just this guy. If I do Alt and I move this one, you can see I'm moving all of our up, down, like the vertical thing. I don't know where it was. Can I reset you? I don't know where I moved you to. We'll just undo. And then I want to show something else. Also, you know, if I select whichever one, if we use Shift Alt, you can move it a little bit more than just regular Alt. I don't know. I think I'm just going to move this shit manually because that's what I'm feeling like doing. There we go. So that's one way to solve something like that if you have these overlap issues. I'm sure there's a setting somewhere where you can go into some sort of global options with engrave mode and make sure there's more space between your accidentals. Let's see, accidentals, yeah. What an ugly ass chord. Gap left to right. Yeah, so I'm sure, okay, we could increase that and maybe that would make things happy. Between stacks. So this is another way you could solve that. And you can deal with how much space to put. I think, you know, really that's resolved. We don't necessarily want the sharp away from the note that it's tied to, just away from this rest. Because it's a little, I don't know, it's just a little tight. Yes, more coffee. Absolutely. Okay. I feel like... Yeah, let's move on to a part. Let's check out a part. Is this text? No, we're good. All right. I was just checking. So this, I do remember, is supposed to be the Arco. It's weird looking back at this piece that's pretty old. I don't totally remember writing it, but it was a fun piece to have recorded. It was hard for the quartet. They did a really good job, but it was not easy. Look at this. We got duplicate fortes. That's not supposed to be there. I'm guessing that is a finale artifact. Go back into write mode, and yes, I could select all of those dynamics using the filter, but we're gonna clean that up. Yeah, that was unnecessary. Yeah, so, you know, it's certainly not perfect to move from one to the other. And I know I talked, there's like the video where I was like, don't worry, we're all gonna be okay. Trying to be positive about this process of having to move things over. But yeah, no, this shit ain't easy. And it's cumbersome if, especially, you know, like this is string quartet. Partly because it was easier to talk about this and show this because it's not a giant page. But yeah, if you got 40 instruments that you're working with, I ain't gonna lie. That's tough. That's a lot of work. And I feel for you, and I am sorry. It's not my fault, but I am sorry. I am sorry. Okay. Also, why does this still say Opus? Oh, Lord. Project info. What do we got here? There's doing that. No, I will not come up with a new name for it. It's too late, right? I can't change it now. It's too late. I'm going to do something down here in a minute, but let's check out Violin 1. Okay. So, here's something that we need to talk about. I think I've showed this in my Dorico shorts, which, yes, there is another one coming out. Layout options. All right, so make sure if and when you're doing this, you have the layout selected that you want to deal with. I'm dealing with our parts, so I'm going to shift, and I don't want full score, but I'm going to select the others, right? Okay, so here's my qualm, and that has to do with, where's the page headers? Here we go. Flow headings. So this guy right here, that's a flow heading. I don't want it. It's so unnecessary. I guess it could be necessary if you have a multi-movement piece, right? You have some choral score and you have multi-movement. Sure. We don't need it here. I think it's stupid that it defaults is on. We're turning it off. So never. I have the specific thing selected, apply, and now we're set. Because the other way, and I know you could do it, if you go down here under engrave mode to flow headings and you edit this, you could clean that out. I think that's what I used to do, actually. That's why I'm even saying that. When I was dealing with Dorico 4 and I was lazy and I didn't want to read everything, that was how I would just delete what was in this box and leave it. Now I know better and I just change it globally. Alas, here we are. Something else I like to do, a music librarian taught me this because pages fall all over the place, right? You print off all these parts and then something explodes and then your paper gets mixed up. Save everybody time. All right, we're going to go into frames. We're going to click up here. Right now we have layout name, which is important, but we're also going to add the piece name. And you could be like, why? Because if you have printed out all these parts and they go all over the place and you're preparing 4 pieces for the quartet, I guess, yeah, this is a bigger issue in like a concert of works, but you don't want to have to remember who's, which piece is what. So just make it easy on yourself. There's plenty of space up here. So before this, we're going to right click and we're going to give project info, which is the title. And then I'm going to put a space dash. And now we have it. Beautiful. The other thing we're going to do, so we're going to take this and we're going to select that and we're going to make it bold. Because now it just pops a little. Oh, we're looking at the wrong thing. There you go. See? Okay, I'll tell you why I didn't do it. So I'm a fool. And I did that right here. But what I meant to do, we're going to select all, copy. Let's delete this real quick. What I meant to do was do that in the default part up here. Because this will apply to your left and your right pages. Apply. Hot dog. This is upset because you can see over here, I made a change and it's like, don't ever change me. I'm Dorico. I only want global options. All right, shut up. Hey, here we go. We're going to select this. And why don't you want me? Oh. Select this. And then we'll remove the page overrides. And now you can be happy again. Some of this stuff, it's annoying that you have to like go back in and update it. But I understand their reasoning. Don't get mad at me. All right, we're going to bold this. That's updated there. Swell. And now we're going to take a look at our cello part real quick. And you can see it's also updated here. Cool. So it's a way to keep it clean, keep it organized, help your music librarian or whomever. Okay. This piece sucks so bad. I'm such a dick. There's like constant music. I mean, look at this. There's no rests for this person. What a terrible piece of music. I'm the worst. I get it. But this is what we're looking at. Page turns. Let's figure out how to do that. Because these are ugly. This is real ugly. It's real slow though, right? Like we're at 40, we're at 52. So they got a little bit of time. They're opened with 2 pages already. So I'm going to leave this because that's a nice long note to hold and then move your eyes to the next page. So we're going to keep that. If I wanted, because let's take a look at print. We got a lot of space in here. We could probably move this up a bit and get this over. This whole thing. Should we do that? Or violin 2. Should we do that? I think maybe. I think we can. Well, let's just show it, just for the sake of argument and seeing what that would look like. All right, so here's how I would deal with that stupidity. And again, I'm sorry, violinists, for my terrible writing. I think we'll go in here and we'll see how this looks. I think this is going to be fine. We're going to leave that at spacing. If we look at first, I think we're going to move this all the way up to the top. And we're going to give ourselves more space to work with. I don't have a project lyricist, but I like to keep this box in case I do want it later. Version history, whatever. We're going to add in something in a minute, though, that's going to deal with that, so we don't have to worry about that. But, you know, just for the sake of blah, blah, that's what we're looking at. Let's copy this over. So copy left to right. So we bought ourselves a little bit more space. And I think we're going to have to manually deal with some of this. Yeah, it's tough. There's a reason not to do it because the spacing is nice and big. 6, 7, right? There's 7, or no, do I know how to count? Yeah, there's 7 systems in here. Staves, sorry, I don't know, lines, whatever. We'll leave it. What size paper is this? This is another issue. We're on 8.5 by 11. I think we have too much. These are not going to be binded. I don't think we need as much of a border on the top and bottom. So we're going to reduce to 12. Let's see if that buys us a little space. Tiny bit. Well, it's 11:53, so we'll keep moving. 12:53, depending on where you are. Okay, so something like here. This is an issue, right? I think this is a bad job by Dorico or Finale, one or the other. So this is measure 62. Let's take a look at the original. And why it's getting confused. All right, so this is why it's getting confused. Or no, that's not even the right spot. 58. Now I'm lost. All right, it's that 4/4. So the tie, and then the C should be going all the way to here. And here's an issue. This thinks that it's a new note, but that should be carrying over. So then this, the confusion here is this thinks it's a tie that it turned into, or this should be a tie that it thinks it turned into a slur. Same here. So let's get rid of this. We need to be in write mode to do that. Okay, here's the funny thing. I'm trying to select just the slur, but it's selecting the note. That's because it thinks we are tied all the way over to here. That's a problem. So we're going to hit 5, which for me is turning it into a quarter note. And that did nothing. 8th note. All right, U was to untie U. All right, now put it back. And now we're going to sharp that. Whoops. That's just a T for tie, and now we're fixed. And then from here to here, that looks like that's pretty good. B, because it's kind of a slide. Yeah, untie. So it looks like some of the ties are wrong, and it's really confused those. I'm not exactly sure how we'll find those, but we will. Another page turn. Yeah, why don't we do that? So we're in grave mode. Move this over. start this over here. I like to have those on the left. Way too much going on here. That's ugly, Dorico. Good job. All right, so the issue here, I'm guessing, is our text. We can move this over. We could use Alt, or we could have manually moved it with the mouse. That's the way to do that. If you find that this is in your way, which it is sometimes, absolutely. System track, which is how you can like select this whole measure and delete it or do something with it. Alt T, Alt plus T, and then it goes away. Oh look, I gave them 2 measures of rest. You're welcome. I think we're gonna be super friendly, and we're gonna start a new page with this larghissimo. That makes it ugly. Okay, we're not gonna do that. We'll keep it with fire. Let's move this guy over. Starting it with J over here. I think that's fine with spacing. Pushing ahead. I think this text is too big. So we'll just put this down to 10 because I don't think that needs to be very big. We're going to keep K here because that makes the most sense. And here's where we run into just a bad page turn. And we hope that the folks set this up, like they adjust the pages. And I get it. This is not clean. This isn't great. See if we can come up with a better idea. I could move this down and then move that around. To me, this is always just a weird puzzle of trying to make it fit. This is better because they go up to the, they have 2 eighth note beats here to breathe before coming back in. So I think it's better. It's not great though, and I understand that. Sometimes there are no good answers though with page turns. Sometimes it's just difficult. Something like this is an awkward situation. We'll fix, yeah, you know, I've already shown how I would do this, but you could move this M around to adjust it down here. This is a situation where I would probably leave N over here so that we can end with this. Because this passage, there's a lot going on here. It's pretty soloistic. But the bum, 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 like that, it's a little easier to read that. If we push this down, we can imagine 2 measures are going to be slid over across the board. We don't want this at the end because this all kind of needs to stay together. So that's why I'm going to leave this here. If you have a better idea, let me know. But that's what we're going to do. Here. All right, so this is a slow section. Rubato. So we could deal with this in a different way. Let's pull this down. Lento will start over here. O, is that supposed to be there? I guess so. That is rehearsal 226. Oh, also something I don't like. This was in Finale and in Dorico. Rehearsal marks remove your measure numbers. That's dumb. Don't do that. That doesn't make any sense. I think that's under engraving options, rehearsal marks. And I think there's somewhere where it's like hide the measure numbers. Did I miss it? I know that's somewhere with the measure numbers. I wonder, bar numbers, every system, placement, show. Okay, yeah. See, this is stupid because if you search rehearsal, it's not going to come up. Come on now. Show bar numbers at rehearsal marks. Yes, you could just look around, but in this situation, there's too much counting. In this situation, like, you'd have to count all the way back to there, or you'd have to count forward, and that's bad. That should just be right there. So we're going to turn that on, and then that puts it right there. So that's something that's stupid. Dorico should fix that. Steinberg folks, put that in a spot, or let me search rehearsal and show that. But that's an issue. So that's as far as we got, which is sad. It's so much work to clean this stuff up. So I don't know if I'll do another one of these, but this is basically that process of moving stuff from Finale to Dorico, and how you'd have to deal with that. I think the process is straightforward. It's frustrating, and similar to Finale, it's a ton of work. But hopefully this shows you some of the pitfalls, things to watch out for. Clean up your Finale files as best you can. And I know you have 1,000 Finale Musex files, so moving that over is really tough. But if you're just moving it over for archival purposes, because you just want to keep it, you don't want to lose that music, which I've said this several times, Finale is not disappearing. It will still work on your computer so long as you don't upgrade. But if you want to move it over for archival work purposes, you can fix these artifacts later. I don't know. I honestly haven't moved all of my music over. I have thought about it, but I have not. Who's got the time? Which is why we're here doing this. So good luck. Let me know if you have any questions. See you next time, everybody. And yeah,